Well, my name is Mary Ann Sheets-Hanson, and we are in Valley City, North Dakota. And Asante was born in late 2002 when my husband and I were members of the Hunger Network Committee at the church we were attending in Lafayette, California. We were living in Walnut Creek at the time. And our assignment was to go out and to churches that invited us to be speakers for a program called Stand with Africa. And Stand with Africa was a program that was designed to make people in congregations aware of the problems in Africa, to hopefully motivate people to become advocates with our government for the situation in these countries in Africa, and then just to basically raise the awareness level. Now we have 5 women's groups that we work with in Africa, and basically the whole goal of Asante Network is to market their crafts because it is their lifeline. And, they use the funds to feed their kids, and of course education is critical to them. I mean, this is what I tell the groups I speak to. They're just like we are. They all want the same thing we want, and that's a better life for their children. And they know education is the key to get them out of the situations they're in now. And so they use the money for that, for health care, and of course to purchase the raw materials that they need to fill another order. And so that's how we got started. We go in and tell the women stories. I have a wax batik that my women in Tanzania gave me as I was leaving, getting into the Jeep to leave for the airport to come back after my first visit there. And they had not consulted me about this. It is the most gorgeous batik and they said, use this to tell our story. So I use this wax batik and I tell them about the women. I tell them how I work with the women, how I order. In the beginning stages, ordering was difficult, although we do it by email. And then trying to get money to them was difficult. We used to use Western Union, which was outrageously expensive, but now they have bank accounts. Asante has a bank account. We just wire the funds. But when I meet with groups, I set up the African Bazaar, and it's all of their crafts, and it really is an African Bazaar. And so one of the fun things is to see the people when they first walk into the room. They just can't believe that these women have made all these beautiful crafts. And so I tell their story, and it's another educational experience. As volunteers, this is another thing we do. None of us take a salary. We all pay our own expenses. And so it really is, a work of love. But the women afterwards, they just, so many, it's this way every time, come up to me and say, I had no idea. We just take everything so much for granted. And they thank me over and over for sharing the women's stories and saying, well, now we feel like we have this connection to these women in Africa, and you've really given us lots to think about. I think the more people that do things, the better it is. But I just maintain, and really my husband and I, when we talk about why are we still doing this, I think a lot of it for us is that we feel that we can't control our political system, our government, even city things. We have no control, but doing this one little thing, we can control it, and we know we are really, really making a difference. So I think it's part of what keeps us going. We feel good about what we're doing, and it's wonderful when we meet other people who are doing the same kinds of things, because we know then more and more people in Africa are being helped. When they hear these stories and see the products, and makes them feel really good when they're purchasing one of these crafts, they know they are making a difference. And I always make sure, both my husband and I, he's usually the cashier, and we just say all the time, the women thank you, and the women do. They just tell us all the time how grateful they are. Tell your women in America, thank you for helping us.